Hi, Kevin here, Amco Bonita Springs, Napa Auto Repair. So this blue truck behind me, this truck got stuck in Hurricane Irma. It sat in floodwater for a couple of weeks and couldn't get to it. So we've seen quite a few of these come in here, and the customers often have complaints, something like, hey, I hear a grinding noise coming from my vehicle when I drive it, or when I hit the brakes, the pedal doesn't feel as confident as it did, or I hear noises there. So let's take a look under this truck, because we've taken a little time and done an inspection, and I'll point out a few things to you. So let's go ahead and get underneath the truck here. So a couple of areas of concern that we see. One, he did have a complaint about a noise. So we hear noise coming from the wheel. So when we go take a vehicle on a test drive, we try to figure out, okay, so where's that noise coming from? His noise is actually coming from a wheel bearing. Now these wheel bearings are encapsulated, it's a sealed unit. But if it sits in water, some water can get in there, and then that bearing can start to rust. The little ball bearings will pit, and then they'll start to rust, and then they'll make a grinding noise when you're driving the vehicle down the road. So we know that he's going to have, right now, at least one bad wheel bearing in this vehicle. But as you can see, obviously the water that it sat in, it's going to have affected this one as well. In a perfect world, we would recommend doing both of these, because chances are we'll get the one on the passenger side replaced, and then he'll have an issue with this one in time. So we can do either one. It's what our customers feel most comfortable with. Another thing that we saw was the brake line is rusting. So it hasn't pitted all the way through yet, but that can eventually leak, because now once that's started, it's almost impossible to stop that. There are some treatments that we can use that we can spray on this undercarriage to start eating and neutralizing this rust. And he's requested that we look into something like that, and I told him that we could do that for him. So if we look at the rear of the truck, I'll point out how we have a wheel off over here on the rear passenger side. So let's come back underneath. Alright, so what we're looking at here is this truck has front disc brakes and it has rear drum brakes. That drum right now, our technician tried to remove this drum. That drum's not going to come off too easily. So we're going to have to work the adjuster from the back side of that, maybe spray a penetrant inside of this, work on getting that drum removed. So that drum right now is frozen onto the backing plate of the axle. Okay, so we have the wheel off. We got the brake drum removed. Okay, so this is what we see inside of here. So when this sat in water, it rusted over all the hardware in here. So the best thing to do would be we would replace all the hardware. Even though the wheel cylinder is not leaking, it's rusting. So we're going to recommend replacing the wheel cylinder, all of the hardware. We're also going to replacing the brake shoes. Okay. We'll recommend replacing the brake drum. And then we'll spray a protective coating on this here, so it'll help neutralize the rust, and then he'll be good to go. And like I shared earlier, we can pretty much assume what we see on this side, we see on the other side, but we are going to get that wheel and that brake drum off also later and inspect that as well.